All right, folks, welcome back to the Night's Watch. I'm Jacob.
I'm Alex.
And lots to talk about today. It's the night before Christmas.
Yep.
It's the night before hockey.
Season starts in
All
3
through
days.
the house. Not a creature was stirring except me because I'm excited for hockey.
Very. So today, just like in the last, hour, Zach Aston Reese, Taylor Lisinski, and Eunice Romberg were all put to waivers to go back down to Henderson, which all means that Brendan Brisson is making the opening night roster, whether that be a 13th forward or starting, depending on Carlson's status. I think, one, that's mainly for his waiver exempt status, but also two, I think maybe Bruce sees something that he can make this work finally. But then again, it's not to say that all three of those guys can't come up at any given time, and I think they've all earned a roster call-up.
Yeah, I think people might be shocked in the sense that it seemed like it was Lisinski. And another thing, since our last recording, Tanner Pearson signed a contract.
Yeah, signed his PTO, $775K, which is a deal. Great deal.
So as predicted, Pearson was the first one to make the team. So good for him. PTOs didn't always end up that way. I would say more often than not, they don't end up that way.
I mean, you can also look at Kevin LeBlanc. He looked incredible with the Devils, and he's like, I'm not going to play here. And he went to the Blue Jackets.
Well, and that's another thing to consider with PTOs, right? Like, yeah, you get an invite to camp, but it doesn't necessarily mean you'll be on that team. There might be another team that is, checking you out and be like, hey, New Jersey didn't offer you a contract, but we will. We like what we see.
I think they did, and he rejected the contract and went to the Blue Jackets.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
All right. Well.
But he performed great. But yeah, Pearson made the team, got a contract. I think he's looked really good.
Did you see his quote?
No.
They asked him afterwards, like, they just asked him, like, oh hey, you made the team, you got your contract. How do you feel? And he was like, oh, well, it's nice to keep the dream alive a little longer. And I was like,
Jesus, dude.
I kind of like that, though.
Yeah, no, I like it, though. He's not even that old.
That's some shit I would say. So.
He's not even that old. I wouldn't even call him like a too much of a veteran. Like, he's had, basically 3 or 4 seasons, sacrifice to hand issues. Like, he really hasn't played that much.
Exactly, and it's not like he's Austin Matthews. He doesn't rely on his hands to have a good game.
But speaking of, he had good hands in the games he played.
He created a lot of chances. Nice passes.
He's looked fast. He's looked good.
I'm looking forward to. I think he'll be really good in front of the net.
I think so too. I think he'll be great. And I think that's a great piece to have, because you're going to want Waugh to play up the lineup, but also if you're more comfortable putting Waugh back on that fourth line center, you can bring Pearson into the top 6, but into the next lineup and have him play with.
We have
Carlson.
Options.
There's a lot of options, which a lot of teams do not have right now.
Exactly. We can shuffle guys up, shuffle guys down.
Yeah.
As needed.
Just, I guess we'll quick go over the preseason games.
Before we move on, actually, should we talk a little bit more about Brisson?
Sure. I mean,
how do you feel about this?
He had a great game against the Avs. First game, he was a part of. I think he had 3 or 4 points, or was a part of manufacturing, scoring.
He was very visible.
Very, very visible. Against the Avs. The next day, he was all right. Didn't do anything amazing. Yesterday, you're at the game against the Sharks. I was trying to watch it on 910 Plus. God forbid you want to watch hockey, but he had some good shifts, had some good moments. He was hit or miss. I don't, frankly, think the team was full bore trying as hard as they could. I think they gave one particular line that we'll talk about later more of a harder look than the rest, because I feel like that line was out there fucking a lot.
Yeah,
but I think he's got the ability. I know we talked about last week. He just has to apply himself. He's got the ability. He just has to work hard. Yeah,
because I should say that our last episode we were pretty down on him, and then literally the next game he had this outstanding game where he looked like a force out there. So kudos to that. But then I think the real thing for me, and I heard the guys on the VGK Insider Show talk about this, but basically it's you can look. It's one thing to look good and take command of when the lineup is all other rookies and other AHL guys. But can you do that when you're playing with vets? Yep. That's a whole skill set unto itself, learning to be like, no, I know my game. I know my shot. I'm going to take this shot. I'm not going to defer to you just so you can throw the puck away. you have to be able to assert yourself
Yeah.
in an NHL lineup.
I think with being
I think he did a little better last
Yeah.
night compared to the what was that other game? Another game against Colorado.
the second game
The
that we
home
lost
game against Colorado.
Yeah.
That game was not great.
I think he just has to like really figure it out and like apply, like we said, apply himself. He's not going to be the best player on his team or even on his line most nights when he's with the team. I think this is more of like you're waiver exempt. We're going to give you, a week in the league. We're going to go home and away, and if you don't look good or don't do anything, I'm going to bring somebody else up, and we can freely drop you down to Henderson and bring up 3 guys right now.
Yeah. Because that's another thing with waivers. Once you pass waivers, you're exempt from waivers for like 30 days or something.
Mm-hmm.
So very easily we can be like, all right, well, we're going to put Lazinski down now because we think no one's going to claim him right now.
Yeah.
But after the first week,
you best believe that if we
have no problem calling him up and then sending you down because you're exempt, and then we can keep him for like 20 days or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah, keep him for 20 days if he doesn't play. I mean, I hope he can do well, and even if he's like slotting in like 1 or 2 nights, or even if he's just the 13th forward, if you need him to play, that's kind of what you want.
Well, that's the thing, like, because I think we can agree the prospect where the hypest on is Korzak.
Yeah,
he's already made the team. Was assumed he was going to make the team.
We're running 8 defensemen.
On opening night, I don't think he's playing.
No.
But he will be playing. So
you best believe he's going to be playing probably against the Ducks on Sunday.
Yeah,
like he'll probably White Cloud will draw out, and he'll play, or somebody will draw out and he'll play. Like that's a foregone conclusion because he's got so much potential around him. Yeah, I think this is the year. I think it's his RFA year too. So this is the year it's put up or shut up. Yeah.
He's 23. We've seen him in Henderson a lot, and he's been good in Henderson. And I don't know. I would really love for one of our own draft picks to make it. You know what I mean?
Out. Like, well, Korzak was one of our own, right?
I don't know.
No, I looked up the other day. I think we got him in a trade for some reason.
I know the Cup year, the only guy that we drafted was Haig. So it's not like we've never had a single one work out, but I would like to see more guys in our system work out.
Yeah, totally. I mean, but then again, that's also smart GM-ship, and it's just smart kind of roster building. But yeah, I have high hopes for him. If he plays, depending on Carlson, hopefully he'll have some good games. But
I mean, he played like 19 games last year, and he wasn't bad.
He wasn't bad. He had some good games. He scored.
He was probably about like 0.4 or 0.5 points a game.
Yeah, he had decent games when he was up. He had some good plays and some good shots. He had a few goals too. I think the problem last year may have been that he was capped on where he could go, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
like where he could slot in the lineup was capped by Marchessault and Barbashev and Stone and
exactly. And then also last year was the year where you're the reigning champs and you just have a target on your back every night. So
it's kind of harder for him to play.
Every game is a hard game. There was no easy games last year.
Whereas now, like he could play on a wing with Waugh or Carlson. Carlson's ready, or he could play up as high as with Hurdle or Eichel, depending on how that winger is playing. Like he's got a spot he could play on that's anywhere up and down the lineup, which I think is good for him. But I also think it's going to take him a couple games to like really get up to NHL speed and get comfortable with the center he's going to be playing with. Like, so he played with Waugh last night, and they had some good shifts. And obviously, Waugh's an animal in and of himself.
Can I tell you where I think he'll really be able to succeed is if they keep Waugh, Hurdle, Holtz together. Was that the line last night?
No, the line last night was Brisson, Waugh, and Barbashev.
Okay. Well, I was going to say basically when Carlson draws back in, if they put him with Carlson, Carlson makes everyone better.
I think he'll be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But then again, if Carlson slots back in, he's not playing.
That's true. Yeah, because you have to sit Pearson.
Because Pearson's literally got that fourth line role locked in. And if Pearson wanted to, he could play up the lineup.
Okay. Well, all right. Sorry, Brendan. No cheat code of getting to play with William Carlson and booster numbers. So you're just going to earn it.
I mean, frankly, he could honestly, if Bruce is not feeling a certain winger, certain nights he could slot in Brisson and see how he's feeling.
I mean, this is how Paul Cotter made the team.
Yeah,
it was kind of unexpected. It was like literally like the eve of the regular season, and it's like, oh, Cotter made the team. I was like, what? Like,
yeah,
really?
And look at him right. He's currently the league leader in points and goals with 2 games.
Paul Cotter.
Yeah.
And I saw a meme. Someone's like, "Oh, the second he goes to New Jersey, he scores 2 goals." I'm like, "Yeah, because he's on the 4th line. That's where he excels." Like,
yeah, and then he's also playing the fucking Sabres, and the Sabres are dog shit.
Exactly. I mean, we had a fucking playing in our top 6 half the season because of the injuries, which was never really a strong suit.
Yeah, we can also talk about those 2 games a little bit later, but
I didn't watch them.
I watched some highlights. The Devils.
I also didn't watch the highlights.
The Devils look.
To me, I was like, this isn't real. Like, come on.
The Devils look fucking good. Markstrom looks as we thought Markstrom would with a better team in front of him. Markstrom looks elite.
All good, because I want at least one of my picks for our preseason previews to fucking work out.
Yeah, Markstrom looks really good, and the Sabres look like dog shit. Devin Levi had a great game. He made like fucking 35 saves.
Attaboy.
And they lost 3-1.
Yeah, I just it's Buffalo. I think yeah. I was gonna say you're right to put him 8th, but I'm like, Montreal's also bad, and I'm like, point being, Buffalo's never gonna escape being Buffalo.
No, and they made
give it another year, and they're gonna somehow blow up this rebuild as well.
Yeah.
Like, all right, everyone's fired. We're trading Tuck. We're trading Thompson.
I say we're gonna get to our like last minute hot takes, but I'm gonna take a hot take right now. Alex Tuck is gonna get traded to either back to us.
Oh my God, how great would that be?
To Colorado, or to Dallas.
Well, don't tell me that. I don't want him to be on those teams.
But are you not? Wouldn't any of those teams would love a big scoring?
Oh, literally
winger?
any team in the league would love Alex Tuck.
I'm telling you that, like, Buffalo will be bad.
I'd say especially Colorado, because they need a fucking Valenchuskin replacement, so they can jettison him into the
Buffalo
sun.
will be bad, and Alex Tuck will more than likely get traded. I don't know about Tage Thompson. That would be so fucking stupid to trade. But then again, it's fucking Buffalo, and they mismanaged Jack Eichel for how many years? They made Rasmus Dahlin the captain, which I guess I get it, but like not Tage Thompson, not Dylan Cousins, not Alex Tuck.
I would have said Tuck. Maybe I'm biased, but also,
Tuck's a Buffalo boy too. Like,
but also part of me is like, why even name a captain? You guys are
you
just
don't need to. Like, you just got rid of you just traded
Jeff Skinner.
No, Jeff Skinner wasn't the captain. It was
well, he wasn't the captain, but he was a vet.
Yes,
Kyle Okposo.
Kyle Okposo. You don't have to name a captain immediately. That's the thing with teams that don't name captains immediately. I expect, like with the Ducks, they took a couple of years.
Yeah, and sometimes it's obvious, like Tampa, like, oh, we're gonna.
Oh yeah,
Hedman's the captain
Victor
now.
Hedman,
I'm like, okay, well that's an obvious.
Yeah,
choice.
that's easy.
Or like when Chara left, I'm like, all right, Bergeron's the captain of Boston. I'm like, okay,
and then Bergeron left, and it's like, it's you, Brad Marchand. I'm like, of course. Like,
yeah, I'm like, even then, I'm like, well, that makes sense. But yeah, like I agree. There's no, if you're a bottom, and this is the problem, they don't view themselves as this, but if you're a bottom team, you don't need to fucking name a captain.
No, and that's why I liked
unless it's a vet that's there to protect the kids.
That's why I like with the Ducks.
Exactly.
The Ducks. Like, they didn't name a captain after Getzlaf retired for a couple of years, and which was fine, and they're kind of filling out. But Gudas came in as like more of like that kind of locker room vet leader, and he earned the captaincy, which again is fine. Rasmus Dahlin,
and same thing with like Nick Foligno in Chicago. Like,
oh,
why is he the captain? I'm like, because Connor Bedard's 19 years old. He doesn't need to be the captain. He doesn't need that pressure.
No. And Foligno's perfect.
Nick Foligno's fucking a dad. He can handle the media.
Yeah, he's gonna be on the team for probably another year or two, and then you give it to Bedard.
Yep.
Simple, easy. Look at that. Look how easy that was.
It's like, oh, Nick Foligno's retired. A week later, the next captain of the Chicago Blackhawks.
Yeah, like it's like, don't get me wrong, Rasmus Dahlin's an amazing hockey player, and he's getting better year over year. I just don't I don't like it when there's no obvious pick, and you just go, oh, whoever's had the most points.
Yeah. Well, who's the best player? Well, he's obviously the leader.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue Tage Thompson's the best player in that team, but
yeah.
But off of those 2 games, Devils look good. But again, it's only 2 games they're in. They're on the Euro Tour. We'll have to see how they play when they get back. But there are preseason games, so first game against the Avs, you and I were low key worried about this one because
Yeah,
we were like
we were
legit
both,
like playing like
we're like, yeah, it was the Henderson Night Monsters.
yeah, we were like playing guys that were like
and
barely
Keegan
gonna
Kolesar.
Keegan Kolesar
and his band of merry men.
I think Keegan Kolesar, Dorofiev, and Brisson, and then literally like AHL and like ECHL guys.
And then was this the one that Pearson didn't even play, or is that
no
the next
Pearson?
one?
I don't think Pearson. Lisinski, I think, played this one.
Or actually, no, I think Pearson played this one. And
I think
then
he didn't play
missed,
the other. Yeah,
missed the home game.
Yeah.
But either way, it was like, okay,
It was just a hodgepodge, like
yeah.
And then the Avs were playing like their fucking full lineup. They had like
It was one of those games where we're like, okay, hey kids, this is your last game before we start trying to actually refine the roster here.
Yeah, they're playing Nate, they're playing Moose, they're playing McCarr and Taves, they're playing everybody. But man, this was a fucking slaughter. Like,
it's funny.
Georgiev looked fucking terrible.
Well, it's because he's not good. But I will say it's funny because it didn't seem like that way at first. Like they got an early power play goal. We looked messy,
rough,
a lot of bad penalties.
I think that first power play goal. We text each other like, this is gonna get violent real quick.
Basically, I'd just gotten home from work. I'm like, well, fuck it, I guess I'll watch it.
Yeah, we were both like, no. And then it just started fucking avalanching, as some would say.
Yeah, we pulled that reverse avalanche.
Yeah,
I played my reverse avalanche card on the avalanche.
Like we started piling on. I think Schmid played this game, right?
Yes, he looked pretty good.
He didn't look good in Henderson, but
he did not.
But
we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. But yeah, he looked really, really good. For some reason, I think he plays better against NHL talent. I don't know what was up with that guy.
That's the kind of the tricky thing with preseason, right? And we'll get to this with our other preseason games. But sometimes it's like just the fact that it doesn't matter. I think some guys play good in those situations, and some guys just don't play good in those situations.
I mean,
like it doesn't fucking matter. Like, no, I didn't make the save. Why would I? Fucking who cares?
Yeah,
Just
why
wrap
would I
it
stretch
up.
across? Yeah,
Trying to go home.
Well, there's an interesting thing with like the preseason games where like they'll say like skaters aren't too high on them because they risk injury more, right?
Yeah.
And, excuse me. People are hitting. You could risk something on the boards. You could slip and hit your knee against the wall. But goaltenders want to play these preseason games. Because they want to see NHL shots.
Because that's the only way they can get it. Because they'll never get the true experience in
practice in an NHL game. They want to see a Nate Dogg fucking 96 mile an hour fucking wrist shot coming straight at your face. Like they want to see fucking Mikko Rantanen fucking barreling down on you. Like they have to see those those in-game events. So which is hard, but but yeah, to the game, Schmid looked good. Georgiev was terrible, but then again, it's preseason. But we were just kind of manhandling the team they had out there.
And this was the game that we referenced earlier where Brendan Brisson was a fucking force of nature in this game.
He looked amazing. He was setting up plays. He was scoring. He was
aggressive.
Passing,
he was aggressive. Pucks.
He was forechecking. He was picking pucks off a guy. He was picking pucks off of fucking Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar and.
I think it was. I think I texted you on this one. I think it was. I don't know if it was Korzak or Hutton, but one of them fucking picked Makar's pocket,
yeah,
like so cleanly. I was like,
ooh, yeah. The guys look good. This was a good game. I mean, they had a good game. Again, preseason, temper your expectations. That's what we always say. But had a good preseason game. I think this was good for confidence for a lot of those guys. I think especially for Korzak and for Schmid and for Brisson especially. Good for the confidence. I think it was a good game. And then turn around, 2 days later, we played the Avs at home. We did lose 1-3. I don't think it was that bad of a loss. It was a pretty close game.
Yeah,
for the most part.
It just felt like we were struggling to get shit together.
Yeah,
and
Noonan looked really good. I think you and I were talking about this during the game. I had the hot take. I'm like, don't be surprised if a Noonan takes this net a quarter of the way through the season.
Yeah, because we've seen him a lot in Henderson, and
he's big. He's 6'5". He's huge. Because I think, and obviously we got those cheap ass discount tickets on the glass.
I would say we got to sit on the glass seats for this game, and that was fucking sick.
And Noonan's fucking hips were to the crossbar.
Yeah. And real quick, I will say I didn't realize this with the glass seats, but we have access to special lounge.
That lounge where it's
all you can eat, all you can drink,
everything.
I walked in and I was even just walking through the entrance is like, oh, this is different.
This is different.
This is for rich people.
Yeah,
I felt uncomfortable immediately.
I feel like what's the phrase? A gesture in a king's court.
Yeah.
That's what I felt like. I'm like, I feel like a poor person coming into the nice area.
Yeah, exactly. Then walking to the lounge, And, not to shit talk our own fan base, but overhearing some of the conversations, some guy was like throwing a fit that they didn't have hot chocolate. And I'm like, it's 108 degrees outside,
Fuck
motherfucker.
you,
Like, you
dude.
don't need hot chocolate.
Yeah, they had
Also, look around there. Go get some free dumplings, or not free, but get some included dumplings and
free. Call it free. Like,
yeah. Go to the bar and get all the liquor you want.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Why are you throwing a fit about fucking hot chocolate?
I wouldn't say maybe not call it free. 'Cause, yeah, you paid for those tickets, but my reasoning is like when those tickets go on the sale that we got them for, I'm gonna pay that much money in fucking beer upstairs anyways.
No,
like,
exactly. Like that price would have been like the price for an upper seat ticket, like on a regular game.
Yeah,
maybe even a little less.
yeah,
and
you save the money of buying alcohol.
Exactly,
and you get fed.
Yeah, because when I went to the last game and I bought a beer, I was starkly reminded of how much alcohol.
$20.
Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah, but
Bob's fucking pineapple neutral $20.
We conveniently call Jacob's female sister Bob.
Yeah, her name's
just
Bob.
her nickname.
Her nickname.
She loves hockey too.
But
she's
anyways,
listening. Shout out, Bob.
Shout out, Bob. But her pineapple neutral was $20.
Also, goddamn it, Bob.
$20.
She's gonna hear this at the shop. What?
Well, I mean, it's not her fault. It's $20.
I know it's expensive.
It's their fault for charging
it's a
$20
neutral too. Like it's a fucking seltzer. It's 5%
exactly.
alcohol.
I'm like, what the fuck? Like, anyways, point being.
But also, but on that, fucking Utah's prices for their
oh my god,
like $2 for popcorn, $3 for
fucking
a hot dog.
Take a fucking note. One thing, Chris Golick posted on his Twitter that I totally agreed with. He was basically he was looking for seats for opening night.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like $300 something.
Oh my
for some
god!
of them. And then you gotta
That's not even the cup winning season opening night.
Yeah, and then
so I went to opening night after we won the cup. I may have not said this on the podcast before, but my wife bought us tickets. She bought it as like a birthday gift. Even then, she didn't pay more than $150 a ticket for opening night after the cup win, with the cup presentation, with the banner raising, with the ring presentation. She got a good deal on the tickets. $300 was like a regular open. Oh my god, dude!
And then he made a good point where he basically said like, you're paying this plus how much for alcohol and food plus how much for parking. He's like, when does this fucking organization like lose good faith with like the consumers? Like they're pricing people out. Like
it's like I love the team. Don't get me wrong. I love the team. I love watching the games, but like. Even then, sometimes like the price is just like a base level ticket just to get in the door that's sold by the team, like in the upper deck, is like $75. I'm like, for what though? Like, that's the upper deck, which I get it. There's other arenas that are more expensive, but we're going out to New Jersey in November, and I'm like, oh, let's hit a fucking Devils game. Fuck yeah, let's go check them out, dude. There are Devils tickets in the lower bowl for fucking $40 at the Prudential Center at the Rock. Yeah.
God.
And they're going to be a good team.
Yeah. Even if they weren't, I'm like, I'll pay $40 for lower bowl hockey tickets.
Yeah. At the Devils, dude. Like,
yeah. And
it's a popular team.
Because the ones that Chris posted about, like, they weren't like glass seats or anything. Like, I think they were like lower bowl, but I think they were like high up in the lower bowl. It's just,
I mean, obviously, we both
ludicrous.
agree. Upper bowl is the word to be at because all those people are all animals and fucking loud as shit. And your parents have season tickets up in the upper bowl, and it's a fun time. But yeah, like I get it. It's gonna be a price jump. I don't even know how we got. Oh, we're talking about those glass seats. It's gonna be a price jump after you win a cup, of course. But man, you could lower the concessions. Like,
no, because we're also talking about Utah and their $2 hot dogs.
You can lower those concessions. Like,
I got a Dasani water bottle last night. It cost $8.
But the pushback I'll say on that is that at least the taxpayers of the state didn't have to pay for that arena.
Yeah,
Bill Foley paid that out of his pocket.
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas we had to pay for the fucking toilet bowl Raiders arena. So that's
while the education system just continues to flounder. Sorry, folks, we're locals. These are local issues.
These are local issues. But back to the game, it was 1-3. I think our one goal was it a power play goal? I feel like it was a power play goal.
It was. I think it was.
Yeah, it was the first power play. I believe it was the Eichel Stowe and Barbie whatever power play. It was a slower game. The Avs looked pretty decent.
My enjoyment of this game was primarily
sitting where
we sat
photos.
and going to that little lounge and getting like bow buns and shit.
Hey, it was an experience. I always recommend if you can find those tickets for cheap, especially obviously in preseason. If you can find them for like under $150,
you got to hunt them down the day of.
The day of. Do it. Check it out. Like there's glass seats that'll go cheap, and that's what we did.
And I did kind of realize why they were cheaper than other glass seats once I saw that half of the ice was cut off by that staircase railing.
Hey, but you still saw most of it, and you got that photo of Jack Eichel just staring basically right at your camera.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, dude, he's looking right at me. Oh god.
Yeah. And then the game last night, which was turned into a fucking shit show.
Yeah.
We lost 6-5 to the Sharks, but literally lost it in the last. I would say 7 minutes
funny
of the
story,
game.
We were up 5-3 with like 3 minutes left, I think, in regulation.
Yeah, I think this was more of like we just talked about, like with we're not trying too hard. I think it was more maybe of a hill. I hope it was a hill was like I'm not gonna stretch across the fucking crease to get these goals. I'll make the motion, but it goes in. It's preseason. This doesn't count.
So you were at home. I was at this game. So
yeah.
I'm just watching in real time.
Yeah. I
felt like those weren't great goals to be given up.
No, they weren't.
So that worries me a bit because I feel like we as a fan base decided to blame it on injuries last year, but there was a stretch where Hill was pretty bad.
Yeah, when he came back, yeah.
So I don't know. I'm hoping it was just a fluke. It was just a preseason. Nothing to worry about. But
yes.
God damn, preseason or not, watching us hemorrhage goals to the Sharks brought back some fucking PTSD.
We're up 5-3 and then gave up three within like
we didn't even like it's not even like they pushed it to regulation. Like no, we straight up let up an even strength goal and like lost in regulation.
Yeah. It was two empty net goals, right? They pulled the goalie and scored 2 goals, and then the 6th goal was even strength.
Yeah, with
a wide open net. I mean,
and that was the problem last year that we struggled so hard on the 6-on-5 last year. And
we got to get better on that. Yeah,
we had an okay penalty kill, but 6-on-5 for some reason it was like a guaranteed goal against.
But then again, they're also not trying nearly as hard. But yeah, you got to get better at that. But I think my big takeaway from this game is that we have found a solidified line of Dory, Hurdle, and Holtz.
I will say, yes, exactly
that line was fucking disgusting.
What's been the criticism of this team all summer long?
Scoring.
We lost too many forwards.
Dude,
our scoring is gone.
Holy shit! This team, that line accounted for 4 goals.
Yeah, and then
by themselves.
And then I'll say, and then specifically a concern was, Hurdle's not going to be good because he didn't look good.
Hurdle accounted. Hurdle was a part of all 4 of those goals. I think Hurdle was a part of the power play goal, the 5th goal too. So Hurdle.
We had that disgusting pass from behind the net to Holtz. And then Holtz.
No, that wasn't the power play goal. It was the power play goal for Stone. I think he factored in on that too. So I'm pretty sure Hurdle factored in on all 5 goals tonight, or at least was the 3rd assist on one of them.
Yeah, he had like 3 or 4 points at least.
Yeah, it was that line. Like I know we lost. It was whatever, but that line looked just fucking dominant. Like I know it was the Sharks too, but like that line, no line on the Sharks was topping that line.
Yeah.
And if you got that line rolling any given night against any given team, I don't think another given team's gonna stop. Like,
yeah,
Hurdle's just so strong, so good on the puck, so good down low. Dory is so smart. Like his on ice IQ is absurd. Like, so watching some of those replays and watching it live, him just like floating into position and just kind of floating behind the play and just waiting for the defense to like make a mistake.
It's that, and then also just his strength on the puck. Like you look at him and you don't think he's that strong.
Yeah, he's a small guy.
He is so strong on the puck.
Yeah,
and he can just hang on to it. Like
I mean, like that play
in situations against all odds where like there's no way he's hanging on to it, and somehow he does.
Yeah,
and he gets a shot off.
Yeah, and like that play against the Kings too from last week. He picked that pocket and he stood on the puck enough to get a shot off it. It went wide, but enough to get it off with another player draped all over him. And then Holtz, I think it's great with Hurdle because now Hurdle's got 2 great shots just to pass it to, because that like you mentioned that where Hurdle went down below the net, passed it back out, and Holtz just fucking buried it. Like you didn't even see the puck. It was that fast.
No, exactly.
it was on his stick and off in a matter of like milliseconds.
Yeah, those two are fucking cooking on something. Fucking Dorofeev, I will repeat it until I'm blue in the face, until home opening. Pavel Dorofeev will have a breakout year. I was trying to hedge my enthusiasm. Like, he'll probably have like a 25 goal season. This motherfucker's having a 30 plus.
This line might account for 75 goals.
Yeah,
that's how like his. Wallace brought up a good point on the broadcast last night. Holtz had 19 in the games he played last year. That's good. That's the score. Dorofeev had 13, but he was injured for most of the year. But he was on pace for a 25-ish goal season. And Hurdles has scored more than 20 goals in almost every year he's played, except for like maybe last year because of the injury, obviously. But if they're all scoring about 25, that's 75 goals from one line.
Yeah,
and not even your top line. That's got to be like they look again. It's against the Sharks. We got Sharks. We'll have to see how they look against the Avs. But that line was disgusting. Like they were doing whatever they wanted, whenever they wanted, and it allowed for the defense to also push up whoever they're playing with. Allowed the defense to be comfortable, and they were just so fast. And Holtz skating looked really good. He looked fast. Like he was in the right position. He was making the right plays.
Yeah. So did Hurdle.
Hurdle's past the point. I'm like, we know Hurdle's ready. Hurdle's.
Like, we all know that any concern about Hurdle was like artificial.
Yeah. Hurdle looked fucking disgusting last night. He was making like the passes he was making, the reads he was making. He was hitting. He was on the puck. He lost all of 3 faceoffs that he took. And then, of course, Dorofeev looked amazing. His shot looked disgusting. His positioning was disgusting. His stick, even in the neutral zone, looked great. That line looked incredible.
You know, what was really funny is when he scored the hat trick goal and
everybody was kind of like, "Do I throw it?"
Exactly. I was with my sister and I was like, we're looking down. I was like, "Oh, I see. There's some hesitant hats," and I was like, "I don't know if I'd throw mine in a preseason game.
Definitely regular season,
but then
sure.
Then you could see more hats slowly going, and then it kind of turned into this slow, drawn out process, and you could tell the ice guys were getting annoyed. After a while, it's like, okay, stop throwing fucking hats.
What was I don't know if it was someone on our team, but I remember a quote was like what did you do with the hats after the you get the hat trick, all the hats up, they pull it up. They're like, oh, we donate them. Sometimes they ask if I want to take one. I'm just like, I don't know about that.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I don't know if they're still doing it, but I remember I think it was the Stanley Cup year. Eichel got a hat trick, and Bruce told him hey, go pick one, and keep
I
it.
think this is what. Yeah.
Then I don't know if that tradition stuck or not.
That's cool though.
I don't think I doubt they actually wear it. They probably just fucking put it on a shelf somewhere. But that's what I would do
in the day of the game. Yeah,
exactly. And which reminds me, 20% off hats at the Arsenal today. We'll swing by after this. Let's go get some hats.
The Arsenal at City National. Oh, go check it out. Yeah, we lost 6-5, but I really liked that line.
The way I'm looking at this is
this was the experiment night.
It was the experiment night, and also the last 4 fucking months. All I've heard about is maybe not 4, but all I heard about is how awful our offense will be, and
dude,
we're not going to be able to score. But hey, we have defense and we have goaltending. Tonight was kind of the opposite of that. The offense looked great. The defense wasn't great. The goaltending was fucking awful. Sorry, Aiden.
It was awful. Yeah, he wasn't really good. But man, that line, holy shit. And then the Eichel Stone Olofsson line was all right.
That was what I was going to ask. I'm like, how are you feeling about Olofsson? I feel like it seemed like he was cooking in the preseason, and I was really hyped for him. But the last 2 or 3 games, or the last few games that he played anyway, I'm like, he didn't do much.
I think here's my thing. I think we mentioned this before we recorded too. Hurdle needs 2 fast wingers to really get his adrenaline going, get his game going. And unfortunately, as much as I love Mark Stone, as much as I love him overall as a player, much as I think he's the perfect captain of the team,
he's not the greatest skater.
He's not the greatest skater. He is much more a positioning guy, a guy that's smart and don't get me wrong, he's a great playmaker. He's an incredible playmaker. But he's a more positioning guy, get in the right spot, get the right stick at the right spot. He's not fucking flying down the wing with Jack Eichel to make a play.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why you need Barbashev on that line, because Barbashev is deceptively fast. And I think that's something they might do. But again, this entirely hinges on, is Karlsson ready to go for opening night? Because if he is, just slot Mark Stone down to the Karlsson line, throw I don't fucking know, Nick Waugh on the wing.
Because that's another thing too. I felt like Barbashev had a strong game last night, and I was like, maybe they find a way to keep Waugh and Barbashev together.
Yeah, I just think. Well, here's also the deal: is like Eichel and Stone, as much as they're the best players on the team, they actually truly never really played that much together.
They tried
it out, but it didn't work out.
There was like a stretch of like 10-ish games, the Stanley Cup year, where they put a line together of Stevenson on the left and then Eichel and Stone, and they were disgusting.
Yeah.
They were disgusting. But I think that was kind of like, Stevenson and Stone had such a strong connection, and then Eichel's just elite.
Yeah.
So, but that being said, I'm like, I'm not.
It was also the first time they tried that line. Maybe they practice a little bit more and they, play a game, and they look great together.
I do. It's a fine line between spreading out talent and just having a bunch of ineffective lines because you spread it out too much. But that being said, I'm like, I'm okay with breaking up Stone and Eichel.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with like it being Olofsson, Eichel, and Barbie, or flip the wings, and then if Karlsson is indeed ready, Waugh, Karlsson, and Stone. Yeah,
and because we haven't really gotten a good look at Karlsson and Stone together this preseason because of Karlsson's injury. Yeah. But I feel like they really want that line to happen because we need a shutdown line.
Yeah,
like,
and then
if we're going to deploy Karlsson against McDavid and McKinnon, you need to have him a competent winger. You can't say, all right, Brendan Brisson, go shut down Connor McDavid.
Yeah, you need the hockey IQ of Mark Stone, but also need like the body size and like the
stick and the defensive awareness.
Yeah, I've also both Stone and of Waugh too, and Waugh's also fast enough and strong enough to where he could play that. But that's the best thing though, is if Karlsson is indeed ready, we have quite a few options we can play with, and that Bruce Cassidy can play with. Outside of, I think we know at minimum one solidified line after last night for sure.
Yeah.
And I think
no need to break that up.
I also think we know two. I frankly think it's going to be Pearson, Howden, and Kolesar. They looked really good together last night too. That's
been the other consistent strong line throughout.
I would say line 2 and 4 are set.
Yes.
What do we do with line 1 and line 3?
It's basically who plays with Eichel and who plays with Karlsson.
It's also hinges on is Karlsson ready for the opener.
Well, that's the big one, right? We haven't really talked about it, but it feels like a nightmare that we've somehow went from Karlsson's having a maintenance day to Karlsson's questionable for opening night.
Yeah, he's
missing 3 weeks of training camp,
skating on his own, and he's practicing on his own, which worries me in that he can't take he can't take practice hits, and I get that's not good. But then again, it's like, well, it's preseason. He's probably like, hey, I just have like the soreness. Just let me skate.
That's the trouble with preseason, right? Yeah. It's like, are they keeping him out because he's actually injured, or are they keeping him out because like, well, we're not going to exasperate this for a fucking preseason game?
I mean,
he's a fucking veteran. He doesn't need
it.
He doesn't need exhibition games.
Like we'll see. I mean, like you said, we've got Monday. We're practicing tomorrow, right? And then probably like a half practice on Tuesday, and then morning skate on Wednesday. I hope he's ready. And if not, I think that line will probably be like Brisson, Waugh, and Barbashev or something like that, or even Waugh and Stone, something like that. From there, the roster's set. Pearson, Brisson are on the team. So speaking of rosters, Robin Lehner is now currently off the books. So if nobody saw this, the Golden Knights and the NHL, and I'm assuming the NHLPA came to an agreement that we are no longer on the hook for Robin Lehner's contract. But he will get paid his final year.
Fucking Vegas, man.
What, that $4.5 million. And he'll get paid out via like insurance or something like that. So Saravelli posted this a couple days ago that, that's a whole situation. But he actually had a good write-up instead of actually putting this in the tweet that, he put out.
To stir the shit and get people pissed off.
So he had a good write-up, and it was basically saying, hey, Vegas was looking at termination, but they didn't want to do this to the player, and they came to the agreement and settlement of like, we'll pay you, but the NHL said, hey, we'll pay him out through insurance or whatever it may be, a contingency, but it won't be on your cap hit. And immediately the reaction was like, oh, Vegas, they're bending the rules. Vegas, bending the rules because like it's Vegas and Batman loves Vegas.
And my favorite was bringing up situations that were not even remotely comparable.
No, it was like,
well, how come Vancouver had to pay Luongo's cap hit? Alex, what I'm starting to wonder is how is it possible that all these smart traditional fans from traditional markets, all these educated, lifelong fans, don't seem to understand the game at all, or understand the rules, understand how the cap works, or what the NHLPA is.
Not at all. And like that's the thing. The NHLPA came to that agreement too for Leonard, and Leonard's a completely unique situation in that I frankly don't think it's ever happened before. With one, his injury, and two, the bankruptcy situation, the money situation, the debt.
The fact that the rights to his NHL contract are owned by debtors right now.
Yeah, and it was a good point I saw that was brought up was like, the NHL probably let this go and let this slide because they do not want to get involved in a credit or debt bankruptcy lawsuit and be named a part of the lawsuit and deal with this shit.
Because Saravalli and Friedman, they keep saying a unique situation. We don't want to get into it out of respect. Well, Let's get into it. Yeah. Let's use our critical thinking. There was an article a few years ago that basically said like, yeah, his NHL contract is owed to fucking, like, he basically signed it off to deditors. Like, anything he gets is to the debtors.
He's getting paid to the, what you said, was it Saudi Arabian?
He has money in
some weird shit.
I don't even know how it all works, man. He has money in Dubai. He's fucking transferring money to fucking shell companies.
It's insane.
It's a shit show. Basically, the way I'm taking what the unique situation is like you said, they don't want to get sued for that money.
Absolutely, yeah, because they would effectively be a part of the debtor agreement toward it'd be for example if you or I didn't pay off like a medical debt that we had, and say for example like we went to bankruptcy. I think medical debt actually clears. Take that back.
Some kind of credit card debt.
It's credit card debt, student loan debt. But whatever debt that can come after you if you declare bankruptcy, you still owe all this money. That means they can go after your relatives. They can go after your employer. They can go after entities to get that money back. And the NHL is like, we're not going to be a part of a fucking $4.5 million debt deal.
And can I tell you the other big thing about this? To all these fans of other teams that are crying and bitching and moaning about how Vegas gets special treatment and we're the golden child and this and that and why do they get cap relief from this? Okay, I'm going to quote Friedman, take a step back and think about this logically. Here are the facts. Leonard, it doesn't matter if he told him ahead or not. Leonard missed his exam, his medical at the start of training camp. We had clear grounds to terminate. We had
all rights to terminate that contract completely.
And we would not have paid him a fucking dime.
Yeah.
So all this crying about cap relief, what they need to understand is the premise of the situation is that
either way it would happen. Yeah.
He would not have been on our cap either way. The idea of Leonard's cap hit being on our books, it's a non-issue because it never would have been on either way.
Because we would have had grounds to terminate because he didn't show up for a NHLPA agreed physical.
Yeah, it's in the CBA. You have to show up for the physical.
If you don't show up, they can terminate your contract. So we did.
When Shea Weber was on our books, guess what he did every year? He showed up to training camp and took a physical.
Yeah, and you know what? We did out of the goodness of our hearts, and the NHL did out of the goodness of their hearts. They paid the man
exactly
his last remaining contract. They didn't have to do that.
They did not have to do that, and most teams would probably fight to not do that to save themselves $4.5 million.
Yeah, exactly.
So basically, he was never going to be on the cap to begin with, and we more or less threw the union and threw the player a bone by saying, okay, we'll give you the money, but this sure as shit will not show up on the salary cap.
Yep.
And the league agreed not because we're the golden child, not because we're the preferred whatever, Probably because they thought, yeah, you're right, because it takes about 2 seconds of thinking to realize that the cap hit wouldn't have been on your books anyway, because you have every right to terminate this contract outright.
Yep.
And now Leonard gets his money. He can go buy a snake, put it into a fucking Dubai bank. I don't care what he does.
Take another trip.
It's his problem, his money, his life, his issue. Nothing to do with us anymore. The Robin Leonard saga has finally come to a fucking close.
Yep. It's over.
The VGK Civil War has finally ended. Fleury's going to retire. Leonard's fucking not playing. His money's off the books. It's over.
Yep, that one big mistake in team history. The book has been closed.
That and trading for Tomas Tatar and Anthony Mantha.
Yeah, what do we get for
and Nick
Cousins?
Cousins?
Like a bag of fucking pennies, like.
Yeah.
But with that being said, that's over with, or at least done for now. I don't think I shouldn't come back up because it's over.
I fucking hope not.
So I would like. I know you and I talked about. Let's get into some little bit final season kind of hot takes, predictions.
Just any general feelings or thoughts or.
So first, let's go with after this preseason. After we know how the roster semi looks, what is your prediction for the opening night roster on Wednesday? What are your lines?
That's tough because we don't know what's going to happen with Carlson, do we?
Here's mine.
Let me look at a list here so I can visualize it. I'm going to have faith and say that Carlson will play.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to say it's going to be I don't know. You go.
I'm going to say it's going to be Olofsson, Eichel, and Barbashev. Dory, Hurdle, Holtz, Wah, Carlson, and Stone. And then Pearson, Howden, and Kolasar.
Sounds good to me.
And then
I'm getting to the point where I'm like, I don't care. Just fucking get out there. Just play the fucking game.
Yeah, and then if Carlson's not there, Wah moves to the center. Brisson comes in as the wing. And then on defense, I think the defense stays the same. I think it's going to be Theo, Petro, Hannafin, Haig, McNabb, and Whitecloud. Yeah,
I think it became apparent the last few games that Whitecloud's gonna start. Well, Whitecloud will start,
and of course
it's his job. It's his job to lose.
Yep, exactly. And then obviously Hill will start. And then what do you? Well, I wouldn't even say like what do you think I don't want to jinx it, so. I didn't even talk about like how do you think we're going to play that first game. Let's go with the end of the season. Who is your prediction for the awards this year? Let's go with the Norris first.
Norris Trophy, Alex Pietrangelo, naturally.
Naturally?
No, Kel McCarr.
I was thinking Kel McCarr. My dark horse is going to be Brock Faber.
Oh, I like that. That's fun.
And then let's say
I feel like I said Kel McCarr. I'm like, well, let's be realistic. It's like, they don't like to give it to the same guys too many years in a row. So last year they gave it to someone else. But I'm like, it's Kel McCarr.
Yeah,
like,
more than likely gonna be Kel McCarr. He's gonna have to do a lot for that team this year.
He's clearly the best defenseman in the league.
Yeah,
so.
easily. And then let's go with the Rock Richard.
Matthews. Obviously.
Matthews. You think Matthews? I'm gonna take a hot take here, and I'm going to go with Nikita Kucherov.
Oh, I was gonna start firing the puck a little more, passing a little less.
No, Richard's goals.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's gonna fire it more and.
Oh yeah. I think so.
Because
I think Gensel's gonna set him up more than finish.
Mm-hmm.
What about the Art Ross? That's the highest scorer.
McDavid.
I can agree with that. I could also see it being Kucherov again, or even McKinnon.
It's kind of like some of these awards, like it's the same three guys, right? Like, like
if he's healthy all year, don't count out Jack Hughes.
Yeah, I can see that.
That team's going to be chugging.
Yeah, and he looked like a little freak of nature last year before he got injured.
Yep. Don't count out Jack Hughes, and shit, don't even count out Matthews. I could totally see it. And then the Hart, the MVP of the league. I think last year was McKinnon.
This is the one that I hate the most because, to me, the definition of MVP is who helped their team the most.
Yes.
So like to me, it's like last year I would have been like, well, Kirill Kaprizov dragged that, or Brock Faber dragged Minnesota to a playoff race.
Yeah.
That they had no business being it. You know
Totally.
what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But it really just turns into like a secondary Art Ross, where it's like, well, who's the best?
Yeah.
So I'm just going to say McDavid because I know how the press works.
Yeah, probably be McDavid because he's probably got to drag the team a little bit more this year than before. I wouldn't be surprised if I'm trying to think of like a player that on a team like that could pop in. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a Matthew Tkachuk. You know what I mean? Like he could pop out, but he doesn't need to do all the stuff that he used to do in Calgary. He doesn't need to do it. But then the Selke.
Jack Eichel.
I was gonna say we have a hot take. Jack Eichel, Selke incoming. In all reality, it's probably gonna be Alexander Barkov again.
Well, I was gonna say I feel like the Selke is, in a way, it's my favorite reward in that I like what it represents, but it's also my least favorite reward because, these people don't actually fucking look. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they only. They're like, oh, Patrice Bergeron.
They just gave it to Bergeron every year, and after Bergeron retired, like finally we can give it to Barkov.
Now we can give it Barkov until he retires.
It's like when Leonardo DiCaprio won the Oscar for The Revenant. I'm like, that was not even close to his best movie. But people were like, well, it's been a meme that he hasn't gotten it for so long, so let's just give it. Let's just throw him. Throw him a bone.
Legitimately, I think it should be a more wide open race. Like honestly, Eichel could win it. Elias Pettersson could win it. JT Miller could win it. Mark Stone could win it.
You know who's like my actual pick? Mitch Marner.
Mitch Marner could win it. Matthews could win it too.
Because I think
Joel Eriksson.
He's already
Eriksson Ek and Deneau and Quinn Byfield could win it. Like. There's a lot of names that could win it, but like if they default to Barkov, which again, Barkov is a great player. He's by all means is a great two-way forward, but there should be more, names and more.
It shouldn't be like it should be more like let's look at the season you had and not look at your name and your reputation.
Yeah, exactly. And then I think maybe like one that might be the hardest to predict this season is the Vezina.
Yeah. Hellebuck won it last year, so I'm assuming he won't win it again.
Yeah.
Bobrovsky has a lot of hard miles on him right now. Fuck it. Vasilevsky, bounce back.
Igor Shesterkin.
Oh, that's another good one because he's in a contract here.
Yep.
I'll take it. What about one that I do like, even though, again, it's become very predictable in how it's scored or awarded or whatever, but what about Jack Adams,
the
best
coach? I would say if the Devils indeed are good, Sheldon Keefe is going to be up there. Even Craig Berube could be up there for the Leafs.
I'm going to say Andre Tourney
for Utah. Yeah, I could see it. I could totally see it, especially if that team makes it to like a second or third place in the Central.
They will. I already told you, Alex. I already told you.
He can definitely win that.
This.
Yeah, he can definitely win that. No problem. I think that'd be better to like have a different name up there. Yeah, I like that take. So from there, I know it's obviously early, and we're gonna both want to say Vegas, but who do you think has got the best shot at winning the Cup this year?
Vegas.
Vegas.
Yeah, this is one thing where I'm like, I'm never not going to pick Vegas.
Yeah.
I'm not a real.
Totally.
I'm not an analyst. I'm
up
not
until we're like legit have like a dog shit team that just look. Up until Jack Eichel's gone, Mark Stone's gone, all those guys are gone. Then you're gonna be like, okay, this team's gonna be 7th or 8th place. Like, I'll be realistic.
I'll tell you who's not going to win it is fucking Edmonton.
No, let's get back to it. We talked about we got a reserve of 10 minutes to talk shit about a Canadian team. We're back to Edmonton.
Welcome to the Canadian Team Hate Hour.
Today they waived Olivier Rodriguez, Raphael Lavoie, and then I think 2 players. Was it Kajula and Josh Brown? Obviously, Kajula and Josh Brown are going to get picked up. That's without withstanding. They put themselves in major danger of getting rid of 2 24-year-old players. Rodriguez is only 24 and pretty solid as a 24-year-old and advancing. He could get claimed. Lavoie probably should get claimed. I don't know if he will. If a team is smart, they'll take him because he's like 6'5", 220. Like he's a big bottom 6 body. And I frankly think he should have been on the team instead of fucking Corey Perry. Like, are we diluting? Like, I know Edmonton fans are. And almost every major outlet is diluting their that Corey Perry is still like a good hockey player. He's going to be 40.
Yeah.
He's going to be playing on a line with Derek fucking Ryan.
Yeah, and then Connor Brown's also just complete dog shit.
Connor Brown's bad.
I seriously can't believe
like,
that
the only person
he went all fucking season without scoring a single goal. And then he scored like 3 at the end when they're on their little run.
Yep.
And then he had like a decent playoff, and everyone's like, "Well, you can't get rid of him.
But let's go back.
You can't let him go. You just can't." I'm like, "Really? You can't? Okay.
Like I like Matthias Janmark. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a good guy, a good player.
He could be a good piece on a good
bottom
team.
6, but like that rest of that bottom 6 is like let's bring it up real quick. Currently, Edmonton Oilers starting lineup as of today is Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Connor McDavid, Zach Hyman, Jeff Skinner, Leon Draisaitl, Victor Arvidsson, and then you have Matthias Janmark, Adam Henrique, Connor Brown, Vasily Podolskin, Derek Ryan, Corey Perry, and your scratches are Travis Dermott, because you don't have enough money to carry 2 more scratches.
Yeah, well, I don't know what more there is to say about this
Oldest team in the league.
Yeah, all I know is they're going to fall flat on their face.
And then your defense is Ekholm, Bouchard, Nursen, Emberson, Kulak, Stetcher.
Hey, Troy Stetcher made the team. Good for him.
And good for him. I mean, I like Jake Stetcher, but I don't know who thinks this team could be a Stanley Cup.
Everyone does.
Contender, but disregard half of this team. Like, the top 6 is good, but Victor Arvidsson is going to get injured. I can guarantee you he's going to be injured within 2 weeks into the season. Is Adam Henrique and Connor Brown really the best you've got on a third line? And then now you're just defaulted to Derek Ryan, who's 38, and Corey Perry, who will be 40 this year, on your fourth?
Yeah, I mean, it's like we said, literally anyone in our bottom 6 is better. Basically, Canadian teams take turns being on my shit list. Usually it's Edmonton. Last week was Montreal. You know who was on my shit list this week was Ottawa. I'm sick of them.
Like, I'm just sick of them. Let's pick Ottawa this week.
To me, it was all the reaction to the Robin Leonard news.
Oh,
all the same fucking joke over and over again. Oh, how are they going to charge Ottawa a first-round pick for this one? And I'm like, I don't know. Did Pierre Dorian flagrantly lie to someone in a trade call? Did Pierre
Dorian commit fucking fraud on a trade call? Pierre Dorian literally said he doesn't have a trade clause. We don't have it. And guess what? He did have a fucking trade clause. Like.
Mm-hmm.
It was like this was never our fault. I feel bad for Dadonov because of the back and forth that happened, but literally never our fault. This was all Ottawa's, and they literally did not produce his no trade list to where he didn't want to go.
Yeah,
all on Ottawa. So fuck off. And then secondly, they are undefeated in the playoffs. Not in the playoffs. I'm sorry, undefeated in the preseason. Congratulations, you did nothing.
Yeah, well, that was my favorite quote from Lena Solmark,
yeah.
who's actually been on good teams before.
Yep.
It's like, how do you feel about going undefeated in the preseason? He was just like, yeah, we didn't accomplish anything.
Yeah, it's the preseason. Doesn't fucking matter.
Preseason.
Yeah. If you won in the preseason, there's been plenty of teams that were dog shit in the regular season that would have been the Stanley Cup champion out of the preseason.
One thing we haven't talked about on this podcast at all is, and also came to a result today. How'd you feel about this whole Swayman story arc all summer long?
I would put this 90% on Boston because they traded away Ullmark early in the summer and they handcuffed themselves to either you pay your RFA a lot of money for the good but small sample sizes he does have, or you let him sit or trade him. You do something or you're screwed. They screw themselves. Secondly, though, is from all intents and purposes, and we talked about this the other day, Swayman's agent is the same as William Nylander's agent.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy tried to pull the same thing with Swayman as he did with Nylander. And Nylander said, man, I really wish I did not hold out until December because I feel like shit.
Yeah, he regretted it.
He regretted doing that. So he tried to pull the same thing with Swayman, and now Swayman's not playing probably until Halloween.
Maybe. I mean,
he hasn't had practice. He hasn't had real NHL shots on him.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way he's playing until maybe the second to third week of the season. Even then, he's going to start slow.
Yeah, it's like they waived Bussy today, so he'll be on the roster. But I wouldn't be surprised if they're like, Corpusella, you're starting the first like 3 or 4 games.
He's got to have to because Swayman's not going to be ready. But like, I like the player. I like the guy, and good on him getting the money, bending over the team backwards because they fucked up themselves. I just don't think he's worth $8.25 million.
No, me neither. My whole thing is, I agree. They fucked them. It was a stupid move to trade Allmark without having a deal in place for Swayman.
Yep.
Stupid move. And maybe I was like, maybe they did that because they thought they would get more for Allmark in the trade, but they didn't get much. They got Corpusello, who's going to be the backup, and then like a pick, like not even like a
not even
pick.
high, like a mid-round pick.
But this whole time, it seems this has been a fucking clown show. I want to say that right away. This has been a fucking clown show. And one thing that was fucking painfully obvious is that Swayman or his camp was fucking feeding shit to the Chicklets podcast this whole like last month.
Yeah.
And they were just being complete fucking buffoons about it. And they're like, well, we're a players podcast. We're a players podcast. I'm like, well, there's a difference between, being a players podcast and like, oh yeah, we're going to call out Mike Babcock for like psychologically manipulating teenagers and be like, oh, we're a players podcast. Like we're going to insert ourselves into a players contract negotiation.
Yeah. The Babcock
and try to give him, we're going to try to give him as much leverage as we can because, Witt felt slighted by Don Sweeney once.
Yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous.
At least with the Babcock thing, that was like actually true because Mike Babcock was actually a crazy person.
Yeah. And then I feel like maybe because of the Chicklets bullshit, like most of the hockey fans like kind of fell into line on the whole like, oh, well, fucking, Don Sweeney's an old fool and Boston sucks and you got to pay your players and player.
That's the thing, though. He's paid his players, though. He paid Pasta.
Yeah, he paid Pasta.
Damn near $10 million. He paid Charlie McAvoy, one of the highest paid defenseman contracts. He's gonna pay Brad Marchand. Like he's paying his players. He's moved into the thing of like I'm gonna play my players. It's no longer the Bergeron thing where Bergeron's taking a team friendly contract. He's paying guys.
Exactly.
He's paying what they're worth, though. Like
people are acting like this is the first time that like, oh my god, Boston might actually have to pay someone. I'm like, no, they paid their stars.
He paid Pasta $9.
They pay their stars
and change. It was like at the time.
I just don't think Jeremy Swayman's a star.
No, he paid Pasta. Who
I think he's a very solid starting goalie.
Pasta is a bona fide superstar in this league.
Yep.
Point flat end, and he got paid at the time like the third or fourth highest contract. Obviously now that's going to go down to like maybe not even the top 10. Because of Draisaitl and Matthews and McKinnon, but he got paid pretty much what he was worth, and then he played McAvoy, who was then probably like maybe the second or third highest paid defenseman in the league. Again, what he was worth, maybe a little bit more. There is not anything you can tell me, any stat you can give me, that Jeremy Swayman is worth more money than, I believe, now Andrei Vasilevsky, Jake Ottinger, Thatcher Demko,
Connor
Hellebuck, Aiden Hill. Now, currently, it's going to reset the market because Shesterkin's going to ask for a lot of fucking money. Shesterkin.
Yeah.
There's no there's no way in my mind that Swayman is worth over for what he's done in the short sample size. I would at most max out at 6.5.
Same. Yeah, like honestly, like, and this is what kills me too, is like Swayman was being so fucking open and vocal. Like not only was he feeding Chicklets fucking talking points, but he was also being very open and vocal about fucking, well, I'm going to reset the market and I know my worth and I know my comparables. I'm like, do you? Because
his sample
you've never
size
played,
is small.
you have never been a starter. You've never played a full NHL season. You're basically you've never been the guy. And frankly, I'm like, man, I'm getting tired of this like cocky little shit. Like you put good numbers. Well, guess what? It's easy to put up good numbers when you're behind a good team and when you're splitting your fucking starts with a Vezina winner.
He's played, so over the last 3 seasons, he had 41, 37, 44. Of course, he was splitting those with Allmark.
Mm-hmm.
So those are basically even splits. So in 2022, he had a 914, 2.6 a goal saved above expected. And then he's had over 900 in the 3 years, which good.
Yeah,
fine.
that's like literally the lowest passing bar for a goalie in the NHL.
920, 234 with a 2.39, so right in line. So you're basically right there with the top end of the goaltenders. But again, you've only played for 3 seasons.
Well, that's the thing. That year that he had a 920, that was the year that Boston like broke all those records. I'm like,
yep.
I'm sorry, because like Allmark wins the Vezina. I'm like, yeah, he didn't really deserve that. He wasn't the best goalie. He was just behind an insane team.
Yeah,
and then
absolutely.
And then last year, 916. I'm like, well, that's fine. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's not really much more than fine.
Yeah, and then in the playoffs, last year apparently he played 12 games, but he was a 933, 215, and then
check. Did you see that shit? There's this quote from him in the Amazon series where it was him basically just like simmering about his arbitration hearing from 2 years ago, like a fucking psycho. He's like, well, the big thing they said is that I wasn't reliable in the playoffs. Check. And everyone was acting like it was like this badass moment. I'm like, that's not a badass moment. That just makes you seem like a fucking weird psychopath.
One good year, one good playoff. You know what? You still lost that series.
Yeah, you lost in the all this just to lose in the second round.
Yeah. Yeah.
All this just so they can lose to Florida every fucking year for the next 5 years.
No, legit. Like, and then the 2 years before, he played 1 game in 2023. He played 5 games in 21-22. It's like hit or miss. Like, I get it. Like, get paid.
No, Alex, this is clearly we're gonna set the market. We're gonna reset the goalie market.
Yeah, like
he knows what he's worth.
Yeah,
he knows his comparables.
Get paid, but man,
this is a players' podcast, Alex. This is a players' podcast.
It should be. I mean, we're leaning more than the players, but we're also fucking be for real, dude. Like,
to me, it just comes down to fucking. Yeah, it's the classic. Oh, millionaires versus billionaires. Like, I'll say it. This isn't a team podcast or a player podcast. This is a fan podcast, and as a fan. I would really wish these millionaires would stop fucking bitching and moaning. I really do.
Soros had a 906, but he played 64 games. Hellebuck had a 921, but he played 60 games. Skinner played 59 games, had a 905. Bob played 58, had a 915. Bennington, 57, 913. Sorokin. So Swayman's not even the top 10.
Mm-hmm. He's 25.
He's 25. Jeremy Swayman had 44 games played, 916. So, of course, smaller sample size, you're going to have better numbers.
Yep, that's how numbers generally work.
Yeah, and Cam Talbot played more games than him and had nearly the same save percentage.
Cam Talbot should have reset the goalie market.
Cam Talbot, of all people.
He should have gotten a fucking an 8x9.
Thatcher Demko played more games, had a 918. Oh, look, Joey Decord played 50 games, had a 916. Charlie Lindgren.
Oh, look, our boy look at that name. Our boy Logan Thompson.
46 games, 908. That's very close to a 916. Like, it boggles my mind that you can play above league average and be decent, but think you need to get paid over $8 million.
Well, and that was the other thing everyone was criticizing, right? When Cam Neely had this comment about we have 64 million reasons why he should be playing. The clear implication being that they had 8x8 on the table, and for some reason everyone took that to mean like, oh yeah, but it's because his Swayman's shitty agent, came out and said, oh well, we never heard that number before.
Yeah, bullshit.
Don't believe that for a fucking second.
You know what?
And the fact that they signed today for 8x8.25, I'm like, well, that's more than 64 million reasons.
Yeah,
that's more than 64 million reasons.
And I
guarantee you, this is what happened. They were asking for fucking 8x9, 8x10.
I was gonna say,
and then they started to sense the fan base fucking turning on them. Did you see that sign the other night at the preseason game?
Yep, behind Corpusalo.
Yeah, lady holding up a sign that said "Take 64 or go home."
Yeah,
I was like getting to the point. Like I was getting to the point where I'm like, yeah,
I'm not even a fan of this fucking team.
Sam, I'm like, you want 8x9, 8x10? I'm like, give me
Fuck
fucking,
you. Give me a fucking break.
I'm like, give me Corpusalo for 3. He'll figure it out. Like, I'm not paying you that much.
No, like I remember the initial story is like, oh, Swayman's wants 10, and then his agent's like, no, we never said that. I 100% believe they came in at $10 million over the summer.
They probably did.
100% believe that they came in at 10, and Cam Neely had every right to go, fuck you. No, why would I? No, I'm not paying you $10 million.
And it's funny because I feel like a lot of people have like been like, why don't goalies make more? I'm like, because they're so fucking unreliable. Ilya Sorokin literally wasn't even the fucking starter for the Islanders in the playoffs.
And they're not playing every single game.
Exactly.
They're playing, and you don't want them to play every single game.
Exactly. A third of your fucking your games, fucking, you're gonna have $10 million on the bench.
Yeah, a half maybe. But then of course you're bringing to pay the forwards more because they're in theory should be playing 82 games, 75 to 82 games. They're out there every single night. The goalies, I'm not going to say this, but goalies, you need good goalies, but they're not playing and they shouldn't be playing every single game, and they should be getting paid comparably to not playing every single game.
And we're obviously moving towards a fucking platoon system where it's like you don't.
Yeah.
The days of having a starter that plays almost the whole year are fucking gone.
Look at Georgiev. He played like
67 games.
And had
he looked fucking awful.
Sub 900. It's taking its
I guarantee you, if Georgiev was playing 50 games a season, he would have good numbers. He'd probably have comparable numbers.
Maybe
to
this year
Jeremy
maybe this year he'll have a decent year because he's gonna be playing less.
Yeah, I was gonna say if Georgiev played 50 games a season, he would probably have the same numbers that Jeremy Swayman had last year.
I agree. Let's do a fun little test. Because I know Georgiev split with Kemper. Georgiev. He played the year before he had 62 games. Jesus Christ, they make this guy play too much. Yeah. So when he played with
918.
Yeah. So when he played with it, right, even then, like the Rangers, let's use this comparable year. 2018, 2019, and 2019, 2020, when he was splitting with Shesterkin, he played 33 and 34 respectively and had a 914 and 910. That's pretty fucking comparable to Jeremy Swayman. And you know what? He's not getting paid that fucking much money.
Nope.
Like, I just don't get it. I say, if you're a player, get your money, get what you're paid for, but also be fucking realistic.
Here's my whole thing. I don't begrudge players trying to get money because, why wouldn't you?
It's like a normal salary.
Go grab what you can. But at the same time, I'm like, don't expect me to play a fucking violin for you because the big bag Cam Neely doesn't want to give you $10 million.
And even then, when he said there's 64 million reasons why I would sign right now, and his agent was like, actually, it was 62 and a half. I'm like,
shut the fuck
off! It's $1.5 million over fucking 8 years.
Agents are so fucking
my
sleazy.
Fucking ass, bud.
Agents are so fucking sleazy. God. This has been a fucking clown show.
This is a pro player, pro GM podcast, but an anti-agent podcast.
This is like I said, this is a fan podcast where we're looking at the situation from outside because we're not players or agents or GMs. Totally. And like I said, it's really just watching rich people bicker with each other.
But it's much like the Alan Walsh situation we had to deal with both Max Pacioretty and with Fleury
and someone else too. We basically had to purge all Alan Walsh clients from the roster
because he was such a
toxic, shitty fucking agent.
Yep. No, agreed. Yeah, it's much like in baseball. There's an agent. If he's a client, legit, almost all 30 teams will not sign that player.
Yeah,
or will refuse to negotiate because of how shitty that agent is. So I am like. And that's the organization's every right to do that. And like we said with this agent, he did the same thing with Nylander, and Nylander had a shit season. Mm-hmm. He was trying to do the same thing with Swayman. I'm like, why? So you can get it. I know the reason why, so you can get more commission on a bigger contract. That's why. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
no, exactly.
Players deserve to get paid. They deserve not to get shortchanged. But
that, and when you have to agree to send a percentage of your commission to the Spit and Chicklets podcast for negotiating for you, Fucking, you need that money. You need that number to go up because you're giving some of it away.
You're feeding your information out. I
gotta make sure Ray Whitney gets his
any
his
agent
due.
out there that would like to feed us information. Our percentage is only 0.1.
Yeah. Buy me Jimmy John's one day and I'll order for you.
Buy my groceries weekly and I'll be okay.
Deposit fucking $28 into my bank account and I'll give you 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, all in all, this situation, like, at least it's resolved. But like, God, like, I agree with you. I'm so fucking over it. It's so fucking stupid. And you know what? It's gonna get dragged out with Shesterkin to the Rangers next year. But Shesterkin will have earned that contract.
Exactly. At least then it'll make sense.
Because he's actually the best goaltender in the league.
Exactly.
And whatever money he does get makes perfect sense in him getting that money.
Yeah, it's not a platoon goalie fucking like,
no.
Give me everything because that's what I'm worth. Because you hurt my feelings in my arbitration hearing, which I elected for, by the way, because I wanted more money.
Yeah, because he only ever played less than half season every year. So absurd to me. Like, you play 40 games, now you're going to get paid $8 million.
Last minute hot take. Fucking Korpisalo is going to take the net.
I guarantee you that they're going to have... Here's a hot take, maybe not as hot as that. By the end of the year, maybe Korpisalo plays 10 less games, but they're going to have identical stats.
Yeah. Oh, that's probably closer to reality.
Like, it's going to be like a 50-32 split or whatever.
And they're going to lose in the first or second round, so it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter. It's not going to matter. They're going to lose to Florida. They're going to lose to somebody. It's not going to matter. But any last minute little news notes, hot takes, anything before we break into the season? I mean, 3 days.
I think we'll be better than people think we will be.
Agreed.
I think
we still have the best defense in the
Montreal
league.
is still going to be dog shit.
Montreal's going to be worse than everybody thinks they're going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Ottawa will be worse than everybody thinks they're going to be.
Pittsburgh's going to crash pretty hard.
Pittsburgh's going to be dog shit. And this is just repeating our hot take episode.
It is. But, well, to amend our season preview, I think Vancouver is probably going to be bad.
Yeah, Demko's still up in the air.
It just feels like they can't get past the curse of having like more than one good year in a row. Well, and I thought they were going to, and now I'm like, actually, I don't think they
Demko's not confirmed, and then Patera got claimed, so they got Shilovs and
I don't know who
the starter for the Abbotsford Canucks. Oh no, they signed up. It'd be Kevin Lankin.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh great. Nashville's back up from 2 years ago.
Fuck, that's not good. They might finish all the way down to 5th if Demko can't be consistent. That's not good. Yeah, I would like.
Be good.
I'd like to amend our Pacific: Vegas, Seattle, L.A., Edmonton.
Well, see, I was
Vancouver.
gonna put LA up, but then Drew Doughty got injured, so now I'm like,
defense is still better than the rest than Vancouver's and Edmonton's.
Mm-hmm.
So book it: Vegas, Seattle, L.A., Edmonton, Vancouver, and then whatever you want.
Whale poo.
Dog shit.
But other than that, I'm just excited. Season's finally here. The real season.
Yep.
I'll be at the home opener,
and I will come at you guys all live with a live reaction episode from Mojave.
Oh.
We'll be hanging out with all the boys there, and watching that episode live, and our live reactions to how the team hopefully does, and hopefully they do well. But until then, be ready for hockey. Get ready for opening night on Wednesday, and stay gold.
Stay gold.